Sure, have you seen this show called Star Trek?
How did you hear about that?
I've been watching it on your computer thingy. It's so much fun with the shooty phasers. Sets phasers to stun. Pew!
Okay, got it. I'll have to check it out. But when did I give you permission to use my computer? There are things on there you shouldn't see.
Oh, you mean the folder that's just marked with a lot of X's?
No.
Since when did I need permission to do anything?
I will chuck you out of this cave. Bro,
Yes?
do you know Ephraim was using my computer?
Your what?
My computer.
Okay, sorry, I was making some tea. You mean that little square thing that you have?
Yes, do you know Ephraim was using it?
No, I don't usually pay attention to what he does.
Me and Rue has been watching Star Trek together.
You're not supposed to tell him.
I'm gonna need to hire a babysitter for you two, aren't I?
No?
Why would you need a babysitter for me? I am well-behaved and well-mannered and totally not trying to put blame on that one over there.
Yeah, same. I'm the most well-mannered.
Which of the kobolds can I send to babysit you now? I don't know.
This isn't a castle.
Wow, that's rude.
Well, it's also accurate. Hello. I was not expecting a visitor that we didn't directly pull. Who might you be?
In my defense, I did not quite expect this either. You may call me Locke. Where am I?
Well, I'm not sure how you got here, but you have found yourself in the realm of forgotten memories and dreams. We are the Delegation of Dreamers. I am Rue.
I'm Ephraim.
And I'm sure. And you know, for a realm that is supposed to be for forgotten things, a lot of known things end up here, don't they?
Indeed.
Maybe it's actually the realm of forgotten and misplaced things.
You know?
I would like to think I am not forgotten.
Island of Misfit Toys.
No, we usually get visitors here that aren't forgotten. But if you have a moment, would you like to tell us a bit about yourself?
Well, I don't see why not. I don't quite know how else I'd spend my time here. I don't happen to see an exit.
It's actually back through there. You can just go around the door if you need. It doesn't quite cover the cave entrance. But before you leave, could we possibly have your name, and we might be able to help you out getting to where you actually need to go.
Well, he said call him Locke.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I believe that you are missing the conversation, monsieur.
No, my apologies. The cats want attention.
Excuse me. I don't quite know if I should be offended or not.
Oh, well, I wouldn't be offended. These are the feral cats. Oh, there's one now, and it's looking like it's going to attack me. Ashura, please keep them away. I do not like having claws through my tentacles.
They sort of look a bit like you, Locke.
This is what you get for using my computer without permission.
I'd rather not speak of my basal cousins.
Oh.
As for how I got here, though, I am not the technological type, but I think something happened with the teleporter.
The what now? Or teleporter? Is that like the spell teleportation?
I think it's similar. All I know is that there's a flash of blue light and I appear somewhere else.
Sounds about right. Never heard anybody call it a teleporter. But, would you like any refreshments before I do forget my manners?
Water, please. So, it appears that you are not on Xanathar?
No, we're in a realm of our own.
Oh.
It's one that is both connected and disconnected from yours.
Ah, I see.
Where is this Sanathar?
Well, going off of your explanation, I believe that it is another realm. It's a very beautiful planet, home to the elves.
Interesting. I didn't know that elves had their own planet in any of the realms. Here is some water.
Thank you. Yes, they actually have quite a few. There's a kingdom of sorts. Thankfully, I have allies there, so surely they're focusing quite heavily on trying to find me. If they could pick up my signal somehow, I'll just be back there sooner rather than later.
Well, we don't have teleporters, but we do have circles that we might be able to use. But that will take time. I'll be sure to get one of the kobolds on it. Can you tell us a bit about where you're from?
Looking at the three of you, I don't suppose you come from a very mechanical world, yes? Actually, no. You, I suppose, have some sort of data pad.
Yes, I currently have my laptop, which you're not allowed to use.
Oh, I respect privacy, I promise.
Thank you. Some people here don't.
I have no clue what you're talking about, but, yes, unlike Ashura here, I am from a world that is not as technologically advanced. I have no clue about Ephraim. He has not actually told me, at least, much about where he came from. Ashura is from here, where anything forgotten ends up.
The world I come from looks a bit like this. There's a lot of rocks. There are caves.
Have you seen the night sky, then?
Oh yeah, but you have to leave the cave, and I hate doing that.
I come from a land where those stars, we've been to them, and we've conquered the planets that surround them.
Aren't they hot?
Well, yes, but they're quite useful if you know how to take the resources.
Hmm.
I personally have a ship of my own, although I don't normally captain it.
Ah, what's it called?
This spare change, actually.
Oh.
Bit of an interesting story, that. You had mentioned kobolds prior, yes?
Yeah, we have some kobold servants here.
I also have a rather eccentric kobold friend. I forget their name at the moment, and I don't care to recall anyway. But they had assisted us once we were down on planet's side, well, as opposed to in the sky. And I suppose you know the term a dinghy, then, yes?
As a boat?
Yes, a boat. Our ship is quite small and relative like that, but it's thrown together from pieces of scrap, hence the spare change.
And is that what the resources you gather on each planet are for building your ship, or what do you use them for?
Mostly commerce, actually. As for the stars, yes, it'd probably be for fuel. Again, I'm not too technically minded.
I will say you at least know a lot more than I would. I have never been very good with technology, though I am getting better thanks to that laptop.
I hesitate to see how you figured that out.
Well, luckily I don't have to do most of the work. Ephraim has been figuring it out for the most part, and I just learn secondhand. But anyway, that is not here nor there. I was actually curious, because I notice you have some interesting items on you, and I was wondering if you got them on your travels while doing,
You mean to say if there are conquests of war, or things I have bought?
Yes, that is a good way to put it.
I suppose I should clarify that the galaxy is quite at peace, but as for these things, most are weapons, actually. As far as I can tell, my boots are unnaturally quiet. Not entirely sure why. As for the thing on my hip, it's actually, imagine a bow and arrow, if you would. Perhaps a crossbow. That, but a lot more powerful.
It looks reminiscent of this thing that we had a person come in that called it a gun, I believe, though yours is even more unique and odd than theirs.
Did they happen to fire it whilst here?
Yeah, it sent echoes down the cave. Even the kobolds could hear it.
Yes, that one uses explosive force to propel something. Much like a cannon, just smaller. As for mine, it's more complex. Do either of you... Well, I see two of you are dragons, I think? Yes. Have either of you seen the usage of lightning, perhaps?
Yeah, lightning spells.
Yes, imagine that, but a lot more compressed.
Like a static shock. Like if I rub my hands together and touch Ashura like this.
Yes, but more likely to blow their head off.
Oh, well, I gotta
Interesting.
rub my hands together quite a long time to get that effect.
Can I borrow that for a moment later?
As much as I would love to see what would happen, no.
I must say, it is interesting that you have technology that can make condensed lightning, but I must find a way to study that later. Maybe I can figure out how to recreate it.
I mean, in all honesty, we have that in the realm as well.
Since when do we have that? Why have you been keeping secrets from me?
I think I know why.
Because I'm afraid of what you'll do with it.
I have nothing but good intentions, I assure you.
Do kindly keep your tendrils away from my weaponry.
This is why I hide all the powerful and scary things. I trust neither of you.
An understandable thing. Your name was Ashura, yes?
Yes.
How did you happen upon that laptop? I'm not too familiar with that, actually.
Well, with this being the realm of forgotten memories, anything that ends up forgotten ends up here. People, places, things. But from any time and any space.
So some poor sod forgot that.
Yes. It ended up here. Might as well get some good use. But, as I said, any time or place. So things of your caliber as well end up here.
You can't imagine how much pocket change turn up here.
That's true.
I should hope the spare change itself does not appear.
We've got a separate hoard for all that. Items similar to yours end up here as well, simply because things always end up being forgotten.
In that case, I have a proposition. That tablet of yours that can record information, yes?
Indeed.
Why don't I share some of my exploits?
I'd love to see them.
Well, let's see, where to begin?
Before you start, let me just go and make sure that Jeremy is not doing what I think he's doing. I just saw him with some weird item, and I'm worried that something is going to happen.
I'm not much for kobolds, to be honest. A little too excitable for my liking.
Ephraim tends to put those that are rather excitable in the minds.
Oh, that's actually quite funny. I was going to tell a tale of, well, subterfuge, most likely.
Ooh.
I had mentioned the spare change from whatever we had gotten that from the kobold. We had flown as far as we could with the what fuel that we had. I mentioned we were planet-side. The reason we were there is because we were on the run from quite a large force. I don't think it was government. Some form of militia, mayhaps. But whatever we had gotten as far as we can, we found a mining colony. There was an interesting fellow there. I forget his name at the moment. It was mostly unpronounceable to me. But it was intelligent, but not centralized. Like, I suppose it'd be like if a bunch of kobolds pooled their knowledge together and somehow became smarter.
Like someone who is so smart they're actually stupid.
No. Well, maybe.
Bit of a hive mind.
Ah, yes. Like, ants, maybe. Something of that sort. We interacted with it. It was quite fascinating. It was wanting to be a citizen. I mentioned it was a mining colony. These robots and, well, I suppose automated individuals. I don't quite know how to dumb it down further than that. They were mostly non-sentient, except for this group of sorts that had formed an individual. It was fighting for its independence of sorts. Funny as that may sound from a hive mind.
Who was it fighting?
Well, considering how much resources all these automatons could get, it was pretty much just a very large company. I didn't have allies, though. We had the misfortune of catching prior to meeting him. There was, shall we say, a mysterious explosion that had racked the jail cells. Had no part of this, of course.
What were you doing that you found out about it?
The hive mind, you mean?
Yes.
Well, quite frankly, we were trying to get some of the resources for ourselves so we could refuel. I had mentioned that we were quite effectively stranded until we did something about it. These resources would enable us to buy the fuel. Going into a more secluded part of the mines, we did find it.
And did you manage to obtain it? Or was the hive mind a bit much?
Yes, and we had more than enough resources afterwards. It's quite easy to acquire them when you have a collection of machines working for you, and quite a bit of a bargaining chip. My party did not quite like it, but I offered the option to inform the company of this being if they didn't help us. Well, it did, quite frankly.
Well, I'd assume so. Either by threat or by punishment.
You'd be surprised what a nice knife can do in a bargain.
I prefer claws myself.
I'm not opposed to that, but it's easier to clean blood off of a uniform than fur.
Got a fair point.
This hive mind, did it have a name? Did it call itself something?
I don't think I can even pronounce it. It was a lot of data, mostly. I don't quite recall what we nicknamed it, but it was unpronounceable by me, quite frankly.
You kept saying we. You and your party?
Yes, there was, I believe, 5 of us at that point.
Who all was in it?
There was a similar to the hive mind, except there was just one of them. Robotic individual by the name of Lysander. Crackshot with a gun, much like myself, but a bit more loud than I. And then we had Chemtesh. He was quite similar to you two, actually, but just smaller and walks on 2 legs.
Smaller dragons?
Indeed. Called himself a Dragonborn, if I recall.
Oh.
I learned quite later that he was a, shall we say, scandalous writer.
Oh.
Writing books of the more spicy variety, if you catch my drift.
Sounds exciting.
Not flavor, Avram. Not flavor.
Indeed. And I think my personal favorite of the party was somebody by the name of Shurth. They are a bit too blind to the world's troubles. That said, they do provide a very interesting point of view.
In what way?
Well, you see, they had a rather tragic upbringing. I had learned this much later on from when I initially met them, but the government that was overseeing the galaxy encountered this species of, I think, foxes of sorts. And encountering them, they tried to make peace, but something happened and, well, they are the last of their species now. That said, they were sheltered for most of their life, so anything that they say is through a fresh lens, I suppose.
And what about you? Where do you come from?
Me? I had rather humble beginnings. Born on a moon like that of this planet, I assume. I don't suppose either of you have been to the slums. Considering your size, I don't think.
I know what slums are, and I've been to slums before.
Yes, I was one of the little urchins that roamed the streets. I was, well, not very well off. My family did their best for me, but I had to fend for myself. And that was until one day I encountered the sergeant. He was, well, the wrong mark to pick. That said, I was young and very inexperienced. Whenever I did try to pick his pocket, he caught me, and I could have been disappeared, but he decided to use me. Not quite in the sense of experimentation like my friend Shurth, but you'd be surprised what a small child could hear whilst running through the slums. Any information I brought to him. Once I got older, he even paid me. But that was much simpler times. Nowadays, I am working for the people that he had worked for in the past. He's long since retired, but let's just say I'm the quiet side of the government.
And did you have to leave your family for that?
For training, yes, but I did keep in contact with them. They're quite happy now. Swanky apartment they live in, much better than the shed.
But this sergeant, did he forgive you for taking a pick to his pocket?
I hesitate to call it forgiveness to threaten me into, well, servitude. But yes, he didn't actually do anything about it other than that. In fact, he helped me later on in life. He's the way I got into this organization. On one hand, yes, he was the start of all my troubles, but he was also the beginning of my fortune.
I have returned. It seems that Jeremy somehow got a hold of something he is calling a matter manipulator.
Oh no. I thought I put that out of everyone's hands.
Yes, I'm not sure how he got it, or what it does, but He was planning to go and pull a prank on the children.
I get the distinct feeling that would be not fun.
It would not. No.
I also have a matter manipulator. I mean, it's a pretty useful tool.
I think you're referring to your digestive system.
No, I'm talking about, you know, the stick with the grippy claw and I can like grip things that are further away from me.
Oh.
That's my matter manipulator.
It's a wonder you remain so thin.
Sorry?
Oh, don't worry about it. Welcome back, though, Rue.
Have you had any encounters with anything otherworldly or just beyond the normal mortals that you would normally interact with?
I had been discussing with these two a rather interesting interaction I had with a hive mind of sorts. I don't quite call that otherworldly, though.
Interesting. And what was this hive mind like?
It learns obnoxiously quickly. Spoke almost every language by the time I met it.
That is quite a feat. Were they like bugs, or were they some form of other alien-esque creature?
Robots, actually, mechanical in nature.
A robot?
No,
Sure.
Rue. Roberts. Jeez.
Sure.
But
Are these robots those things
Roberts, Rue.
those things you?
it's robot, yeah.
Tomato.
Is the robot the thing you were telling me about that you had to get rid of when the one showed up here because it kept trying to exterminate everything?
The one that kind of looked like a traffic cone.
Yes.
The one that we use as a trash can nowadays.
I mean, it does exterminate trash rather well.
What in the world shenanigans have you been getting up to?
Too many.
I can see that.
I need a vacation.
Yes, sure. You need a vacation. You should go and visit the islands to the south? Ephraim and I can take care of things while you're gone.
You are not getting my laptop.
I want to go visit a star. That sounds exciting.
I don't recommend getting close, and for that matter, don't.
But they're so shiny.
You see, up above in the sky, quite frankly, you can't breathe. There's no air up there.
You mean they're breathtaking?
No,
I mean it quite a bit more literally than that.
Yes, sometimes literal is necessary. This is one of those literal cases. Though, luckily for me, I don't need to breathe, so I could still visit.
Are you sure? You seem somewhat vegetal in nature.
Yes, actually. I can, in theory, intake the breath that living creatures put out, like a plant would, but I have never had a need for breath. I have been underwater for a week on end one time. It was not very pleasant because I couldn't really move as fast, but other than that, there was no issues.
One would think with all your tendrils you'd actually move quite quickly.
Yes, but unfortunately for me, they are not as effective when you don't use them most often. Since I float more often than not, I don't have much experience with using my tendrils.
Ah, so you skip leg day, I see.
Yes, that would be an adequate way of putting it.
I, for one, am always on it.
Thursday is my leg day. That's when I have legs.
Ephraim, leg day does not mean the day when you eat legs. It means... I give up with you. You are literal at times when you want to be, and not literal when you decide it is not as fun. And it can be very frustrating, but, yes.
Sure, are you sure that this one is safe?
I don't think either of them are safe.
I will have you know, I was once put in charge of an entire country for a week, and it did not burn to the ground.
If it had burnt down in a week, I would have been very impressed.
That's the opposite experience I've had.
Yes, Ash, definitely don't let them around your laptop.
I will say, there was an incident when I was running the country where there was a invading horde from the neighboring country, and I had to push them out, and I may have destroyed a town in the process, but besides that, it went smoothly.
So besides for one town, the country didn't burn down.
I mean, that town didn't burn down. It may have been vaporized, but that doesn't count.
I agree with you this time. That doesn't count.
I suppose one town is a lot better than the entire planet. That almost happened under my watch.
Oh,
You burned down a planet?
do tell.
Well, no, somebody else had threatened to, and I almost failed to stop them. And it's less of a burning down and more of tearing asunder.
Ooh. How would he do that?
Very large explosions.
Ah, okay.
How many explosions are we talking?
I believe it was in the order of hundreds. Hundreds of individual placements of explosions, and then all of them large enough to, quite frankly, destroy any capital city here. If one of them were to go off inside of a capital city, that area would be rubble almost immediately. Any area around it would be, there's a term called irradiated, but I suppose a better way to put it for you all would be salted earth. Like whenever one is invading. Except it kills everything, not just the plants.
Interesting. That sounds quite devastating.
It sounds like a bit of a waste, though. You don't want to eat Earth, so why would you salt it?
Ephraim, I'm going to personally silence you for the rest of the week if you do not stop being so literal.
No, actually. No. It is quite literal. You are salting the earth. However, what you are doing is stopping the plant life from going. The salt kills them. The plants, rather. So anybody taking over that area afterwards will not have any crops. So, it is not entirely wrong.
He's not entirely wrong, but he's also intentionally avoiding the point.
Who was this person who wanted to crack the planet?
Ah, yes. Remember the dragonborn that I mentioned prior?
Oh, yeah, your friend.
Yes, his brother, actually, Balasar.
Hmm.
I'm not entirely sure exactly how he had gotten all the explosives onto the planet or managed to plant them all, but this is quite an expensive plan.
So why would he want to do that?
I did manage to talk to him briefly before his demise, but it was effectively so that he could start a galactic war. Something about the world being too boring. As far as I can tell, he was simply a maniac.
But it was right, though. Explosions are the opposite of being boring.
And I suppose that is the case, yes, but I'd much rather have a planet to live on than excitement.
It sounds kind of like they were trying to play God. I know a couple gods who would, for their own excitement, just wipe out a planet or two.
And that's just why I don't trust them. I believe in a deity where you can do everything by yourself anyway.
That is true.
Although I suppose in your medieval lifestyles you have much less access than I.
I do also have to, equate most of my power to a deal I made with the deity, but at least he's one of the ones that you would not see destroying a planet for no good reason.
As far as I care, any deal with the deity is one that'll bite you. I believe the term is monkey's paw.
Yes, well, in my case, I was given nearly unlimited amount of magical power in exchange for not much. In fact, I am technically alive only because of the deal. But
Ah, yes. Your eternal servitude in the afterlife, most like.
well, in theory, all I have to do is occasionally go and talk to them for extended periods of time while alive, and then they will protect my soul from damnation. Because a few gods may have it out for me after killing off many of their followers.
Well, that much I can agree with. My main job and my mission, I suppose, is to stop anybody who would break the peace, so to speak. This Balasar individual was, as I said, definitely trying to do so. Thankfully, once we did stop him, I actually got a noble peerage, I believe it's called.
What is that?
What is a noble peerage, you mean?
Yeah.
Put quite simply, I am the only one in my line to have this noble peerage, but I own a sizable parcel of land on the planet, and I believe I'm second only to the king in terms of power. Myself and my party, of course.
Very interesting. I don't believe the realm I originally come from, anyway, had anything like that. Though that's mostly because the ones in power decided that they did not want anybody to have anywhere near as much as them. But, I remember now. I was going to ask you, what would you say the most exciting thing that has happened to you, not related to your normal travels, would be? Something while you may have been relaxing, so to speak.
Relaxing. Quite frankly, I haven't been doing much of that. Although I did manage to see my family quite a while ago. Face to face, rather than over the messaging.
I would like sending.
Then yes, basically. Just on a much further scale.
He actually got one right.
Pardon?
I believe he was pointing out that Ephraim actually got something right for once. Sorry, not for once. Ephraim is right on occasion, same as I am occasionally wrong.
I see. Not the sharpest knife in the... Never mind. Perhaps I shouldn't say that to their face. As for your question, though, I believe the most exciting thing, for me personally, was making up my weapon. Being able to customize it to my own usage is quite exhilarating, actually. Well, I can most likely shoot a fly off of a barn. Suffice to say, it's quite accurate. And at quite the range as well.
Do you dislike flies?
It's more the fact that they are quite small and hard to hit with a ranged weapon.
Agreed. But a good tail will resolve anyone that's close enough.
I will say, I do personally have an issue with flies. They love to gather around you whenever you're starting to shed, if like me you shed leaves, because they like rotting things and think, oh, food. They are quite a nuisance. But,
Yeah, I think they're attracted to your smell.
possible.
I, for one, wonder if you have a mix of catnip in you, considering how these cats are bothering you.
It is quite possible. I have heard that the one who created my species had been doing some experimenting with the seed they used. I believe it was a cephalotus plant that they may have altered the... what is that word? The thing that stands for everything that's made up for. You told me the word, Ashura.
I believe that would be DNA.
Yes, that's the one. I still don't quite understand all that, but Ashura told me about it at one point. But yes, I believe most of us were experimented on with the seeds. It is quite possible that catnip was put into my DNA. I have always had issues with felines. But specifically ferals, I've never had an issue with a sentient feline. Well, except that one time, there was that... what is the species called? They're like lions. But... anyway, that is neither here nor there. I had another question. I cannot remember what it is. So I will ask my common question that I know these two are going to absolutely hate me for asking. Have you heard of shaken milk?
Have I heard of what?
What is the proper term? Milkshakes. That's what the common folk call it.
Yes, I'm familiar.
Very good.
He's not just asking you because you look like a cat.
I was trying to not think about that, thank you.
I guess there could be a correlation. But I was asking because I'm trying to make a list of realms that have this milkshake so that I can eventually maybe visit one and find it one and try one. Because it has been a very long time since I first heard of them, and I have been unable to try one in the entire time I've known about them.
And can you even ingest lactose?
I can ingest most anything I try. It doesn't always end well, but generally it doesn't cause much trouble.
Have you had normal milk, then?
Yes. I have not had too much issues with milk, though there was one time where I drank some milk that was not from a cow. I believe it was from a goat, and for some reason I grew a fruit on my head. I do not understand the correlation, but it only happened that one time.
Truly an interesting species you are. I believe I should be headed back to my people. Ashura, I believe it was, said that you had some form of circles, yes?
Yes, I believe I can help you out with that. And we hope we may be able to see you again. But until then, have a good awakening. He actually got one right.
Pardon?
I believe he was pointing out that Ephraim actually got something right for once. Sorry, not for once. Ephraim is right on occasion, same as I am occasionally wrong. Ephraim is right, Ephraim is right, Ephraim is right, I am wrong, I am wrong, I am wrong. Ephraim is right, Ephraim is right, Ephraim is right, I am wrong, I am wrong, I am wrong.